The views and opinions expressed during this podcast episode are those of the co hosts and guests and not their sponsoring institutions. Now, let's start the show. Where we moving on, where we moving on now, to the side. Feel like the partners in the sky. Moving on to the side. We finally got our feet at the fire. Hello, Detroit and the world. Welcome to another episode of Authentically Detroit, broadcasting live from the Zoom platform in partnership with the Audio Wave Network studios inside the Stoudemire Wellness Hub, sponsored by the Ford Foundation. And we're also a content partner to BridgeDetroit.com. Happy Women's History Month, everyone. I'm Orlando Bailey.
And I'm Donna Gibbons Davidson.
We want to thank you for listening in and supporting our efforts to build a platform of authentic voices for real people on the east side of Detroit. We want you to like, rate, and subscribe to our podcast on all platforms. We drop a new episode every week, so be sure to turn on those notifications. Today, we are happy to welcome back Savana Brewer of Eastside Community Network. Savana serves as the Director of Community Organizing and Planning, really, which is the main engine behind all of the ECN programming. Savana, welcome back to Authentically Detroit.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
Yes, so she's plays a couple of roles for us. She is our poet laureate at ECN.
That's right.
Laureate. And next time you come on, we're going to need you to bring a poem with you because you're always. I love Savannah's poems because they are beautiful, but also very, very authentic. They connect to the people in the community, and they're written in such a way that it's not the kind of lofty language people can't really understand and get with, but it is accessible. This is the term I'm trying to use for all audiences. I just love that. And I think everybody always loves, she always gets the greatest applause, but I think Savannah's also responsible for building people power in the East Side. She's the person who leads the department where our voices get heard, where we think together and plan together. And Savana, being Savana, is going to make sure that there's equity at every single table that she's at. She is your equity advocate. I've never met anybody like Savana who is just going to softly, gently, or sometimes a little bit more, emphatically let you know this is not how we're doing things here.
I love it. Savana, I think your journey at ECN is one to note. Tell us a little bit about your journey working with ECN and how that got started and where you are now.
Yes. So, of course, and thank you for that introduction, Donna. Of course, I am from Saginaw, Michigan, about 100 miles north, if you are not familiar. And after Oakland University, I went to work in the automotive industry for 8 years until my plant closed with a 60-day notification on figure out basically what are you going to do for your livelihoods, folks. And so about 600 employees lost their jobs. And at the time, we were offered assistance with either getting into another plant or going back to school. And I was already paying my way through the master's program at Wayne State to earn my social work degree. And I was able to complete that. And my second year of the advanced social work program, I was connected to ECN, and that was in 2016. And I have been here since. I served 1 year as an intern and then was thankfully hired onto staff. And so I have served as a health coach for the China Park Neighborhood Initiative, where we worked to reduce type 2 diabetes, obesity, hypertension. I then transitioned into a family mobility coordinator role, which no one ever goes by that name. We were really served as like a coach for the Partnership for Economic Independence program, where we worked with families and individuals to build economic stability. And from there, we created a new department called the Community Organizing and Planning Department, where I have served as a coordinator, a manager, and now the director. So very excited about that work, and the work has changed a little bit. We definitely are all about coalition building, power building, and we do, neighborhood implementation as well as financial stability, as well as sharing resources, which I think is one of our most valuable assets, and just engaging and even focusing on wellness as well.
What a journey you've had, Savannah Brewer, and it is one to take note and to be proud of. So, congratulations on all of your roles and the success of the role that you are currently having. I want to do a check in because it's what we do here. How is the week? How is the day finding each of you?
Well, I'm currently, my mother's in hospice now. And so the day finds me at different points all during the day. Right now, I'm okay. But, it's like the best of times and the worst of times. We got notice that we were going to receive a federal earmark that will help us complete our vision for the Stoudemire, and that means a lot. Savannah talked about so many threads of work that she's done, and the Stoudemire kind of brings those threads all together under one roof and says that we have a permanent place and way to reach people to help them meet their needs, because that's what Savannah's been doing, is meeting needs in addition to power building. And we're going to keep on doing that. So that's great. And so I try to use my, I was looking at something as like, something grief, like beforehand anticipated grief or something like that, which is different than the actual grief when you lose something, but when you're standing there and you know you're about to lose. So I'm trying to use um, that emotion to propel me to work even harder and
Mm,
more so on the causes and the things that my mother actually made me care about from the time I was a little girl. There was never a time my mother didn't care about people in that way. My first professional job working at the Community Health Awareness Group, my mother was at the Detroit Health Department
mhm,
running the social work department for the AIDS Project. And she worked with social work interns at that time, Savannah, to bring them into HIV/AIDS prevention and intervention. She was the sole social worker in that capacity, serving the entire city of Detroit. And every single person who got tested at the Detroit Health Department who tested positive had to sit down with my mother, and she delivered the test results to them. If they tested negative, they could see me and a number of other people. But just imagine every day seeing person after person after person, because this is in the 1980s when HIV/AIDS is a death sentence. And when she did that, she had to let people know that they were probably going to die. And, there were people all from all walks of life, people who were injection drug users, people who were returning citizens, wives who had no idea that their partners were doing any of this, people who were living at every single place in the economic spectrum. And my mother greeted them all with love, non judgment, and understanding. And it was a lesson, for a while, I had to learn how to show that I actually cared about people who society had thrown away. And I learned that from Shirley Elizabeth McIntyre. And so today, every day right now, all I think about is knowing that I'm honoring my mother.
mm. I love that. We honor you, Shirley Elizabeth McIntyre,
Mhm.
a woman who knew exactly what she wanted and when she wanted it. I'll never forget my very first time meeting Donna's mother. It was at a ECN annual meeting, Savannah, and Donna's mother had come in, and I didn't know she was Donna's mom at the time.
You couldn't
And
see it?
well, you're moving around and you're moving so quickly. And so, of course, we at ECN always had a ton of resources, and she wanted all the resources, but she couldn't carry it all. So she had her little cane, pointed her cane at me, like, you get this, and that, and bring it to me. Well, I'm going to sit down. I'm not carrying all this stuff. Grab all this stuff, carry it, and bring it to me. And I said, yes, ma'am. And when I found out that that was Donna's mom, I was like, oh, okay, of course. What a powerful, I mean, just powerful. Savannah, how's the day? How's the day finding you? How's the week?
So, um, I am healing today. I will be very honest. Donna, just hearing you speak about your mother, um, oh my goodness, I'm like trying very hard to fight back emotion. Today is marks 23 years that my biological mother passed away. And so I'm wearing red to represent her, that was her favorite color. I also wear red today, and I am still healing. My adoptive mother passed away 18 years ago on March 7th from heart disease. And so I wear red in her honor. And my maternal grandmother passed away on March 13th. And so March is always a little challenging for me because my maternal tree um, is gone. And so I am recognizing that I am still healing and really telling myself that it is okay to cry. It is okay to smile and laugh and be happy and just rejoice in the memories that I do have and really working to just appreciate life and appreciate people.
One of the things I love about this platform is um, the ability that we have and our guests have to feel so at ease enough to be and share vulnerability. Um, thank you, thank you both for sharing, you know, a really vulnerable part of yourselves to our listeners. It's part of it's why we are authentically Detroit. You're not gonna get on this platform and not hear authenticity um, and healing and anticipated grief are all very raw emotions and a part of the human experience. So for both of you to show up uh, despite all of what you are going through and feeling is admirable, and it speaks to the strength of that maternal tribe. Both of you are referencing the maternal tribe that raised you. Um, it, it's an amazing testament to them and their legacy. So,
Oh, and is there a better month to recognize these women than Women's History Month?
yeah.
The month that my mother entered hospice, the month that, God willing, she will turn 89, and the month that I became a mother.
Oh,
So
wow.
is the kind of month for me that really means a lot. And Savannah, thank you for sharing that. And somebody's just telling me they always stay with you, mothers. And so
Mhm.
that's what I'm counting on. How are you doing, Orlando? Because I know yesterday you were really tired, like me. You're feeling a little bit hectic. What's going on?
Well, you know, I am back in the saddle in a major way. I took a week off last week and went to LA to sort of retreat and find some respite, and I did just that. Um, but the week before, I had to do some traveling for a funeral. I lost my uncle, so it's been a tumultuous couple of weeks, and uh, you know, when you're in and out for 2 weeks and you get back in the saddle at work, you know, stuff been waiting on you. And so it's been a privilege, honestly, and not a chore to be able to do the kind of work that I do. It's just sometimes like yesterday, it could be a lot. And so excited. This is always the best part of the day, and so I'm always excited to share space with my friend Donna and whomever guests we are highlighting. So I am well. All is well, considering, right? You know, the phrase that we always say that they meme now, that Black people always say, well, in the midst of all that's going on, we doing all right. And there's always all that's going on. There's a lot of going on, and you know, top with, you know, the pandemic that I think some of us may have forgotten about. But yeah, it's time for hot takes, where we run down some of the week's top headlines in the city of Detroit. For hot takes, can Detroit erase residential blight in 4 years. This is by Bryce Huffman and Christine Ferretti at Bridge Detroit. Donna, what say you?
Well, I actually got interviewed and a few quotes in here, um, but a lot of people made some of the same points I'm going to make. And that is that, um, it's great to say you're going to erase residential blight, but blight is not something that exists and will go away. Um, Blight is something that, um, when I say it'll go away, blight happens every day. There's people who are possibly going to lose their homes this month because they didn't pay they weren't able to get into a payment plan. Some people had to walk away because they could not afford to live in homes that were falling apart on them. And so, what this article really helps describe is the fact that although there's a pretty aggressive effort to tear down homes, that unless we stop feeding the pipeline of blighted homes, you're never going to get rid of it. And so, we've quoted a number of people. I think, let me see, just to
Dr. Glenda Price, who's
Glenda
a
Price was, I was kind of surprised to see how she just sort of said so many things that I agreed with. Um, there were a number of people who sort of, she said, I don't care if you're 25. No, that's not it. I'm sorry. Um, When homes are foreclosed upon, typically within a week or two of being vacant, they are stripped and become home open to the elements. Ultimately, the homes more often than not end up on the demolition list, costing the city money to demolish and resulting in loss of revenue related to property taxes, state and federal funding due to population loss. I'm sorry, that's Mary Sheffield who said that. Belinda Price said, people will continue to abandon homes they cannot afford. Neighborhoods will continue to decline with those abandoned homes if we don't address education, employment, and social issues. It's all very complicated and mixed together. I would say that it's not even just about education, employment, and social issues, but if we do not address and identify funding to help people fix up their homes, right? If I'm a senior citizen, you're not going to educate me and employ me into being able to fix up my home. I might not even be employable at this point. And the question is, do people who have lesser means have the right to live in decent housing? When I think about the state of the city, which also happened last week, Mayor Duggan said, among other things, that he set out to eliminate vacant homes, and he's promised people that by 2025, blighted. He was going to eliminate blight, and by 2025 he would. He had a very ambitious plan to tear down 20,000 homes a year or something like that, and it sounded really good to some people. Imagine if he had an ambitious plan to fix up 25,000 homes, 20,000 homes a year. 15,000 homes a year. As mayor of Detroit, I pledged to do this and sought out resources, tried to find a way to use federal resources and philanthropic resources together to fix up homes.
Yeah, I think there are two ends to the pendulum on this issue. Number one, looking at the root and the feeder of blight in our city, and that is, and it has been the foreclosure, sometimes the illegal and over-assessed foreclosure of tens of thousands of homes over the last almost 10 years now, and those homes feeding the symptoms of blight. But the other piece that I took away from the state of the city and the themes that the mayor laid out is that the mayor is also laser focused on fixing the aesthetic of the city, and we cannot forget that homes are a major aesthetic of the city of Detroit and are at risk. We're getting ready to enter into spring, summer. Rain is coming. What are we going to do? Are we ready for it? That's going to shift the aesthetic of the city. And I would say inequities that are driven by policies that support it, like not figuring out how to fund home repair en masse is an inequitable policy that needs to be looked at and fixed. resuming in still a pandemic, the property auction, the Wayne County property tax auction and property tax foreclosures, uh, especially right now with inflation just going nuts. I mean, is short-sighted. And so if we are going to fix the aesthetic, and that's the theme that I got. If we're going to fix the city of Detroit's aesthetic, I believe we have to look creatively and reimagine how to get at the root of some of these problems. We can't demolish blight away if we are still foreclosing on homes where people owe $200 and $300. I mean, there are residents who owe $200 and $300 who lost their homes, right?
Yeah. And,
Um, we have to do both. We
and
have
the
to do,
county got paid off of all of that, right?
yeah.
So when people lost their homes, let's say your home was worth $8,000, not a home that was worth a whole lot. You owed $300. This home went to the county, and the county is able to auction it off and auction it off at a rate where they get paid a certain amount of money. We are trying to get as many people as possible into payment plans, keeping in mind that there's interest charged on the payment arrangements. We have a system that is regressive. And when I look at the everything he talked about, it was aesthetics. It was also housing values. It was also reputation. It was the kind of change that pleases the bond rating agencies like Standard and Poor's. And at the end of the address, he said that our bond rating has gone up the sixth time in a row, and no doubt, because everything the city does is in keeping with the values and the ideals of bond rating agencies. There's no conversation at all about water entering people's homes and flood prevention. And there was nothing about climate change or even green infrastructure. It was very closely tethered to the kind of things that Standard & Poor's wants to hear. And I actually read the Standard & Poor's report, and I asked our legal eagle, Chase Cantrell, to weigh in this morning so I would know how to respond to this. But I saw this language that this is what secures these bonds. This is what makes them feel secure in loaning money or saying that the city has some level of stability. They said outstanding GALT bonds are full faith and credit general obligations backed by the city's pledge to levy property taxes without limitation as to rate or amount as authorized by voters. So the bonds are backed by the city's pledge to levy property taxes without limitation.
Mhm.
You can't forgive property taxes when you have pledged to levy property taxes without limitation. It means that you've got to be as aggressive as possible, as I see it, in collecting on property taxes in order to make the bondholders feel safe.
Absolutely.
And so
And the go ahead. I'm
there's
sorry.
nothing in Standard & Poor's whole document where they evaluate race equity, quality of life, racial justice, any of that. It's just absent from that conversation. And I started wondering whether, if we're trying to change how cities, because it's not just Detroit, how cities in the 21st century operate, whether we need to figure out how to enlighten and motivate Standard & Poor's to do a better job analyzing what growth looks like.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if the aesthetic focus took precedence over um, the actual human condition and the development of people in neighborhoods that Savannah sees every day. And that brings us to the next hot take, and it's sort of informational. Wayne County is extending the payment plan deadline for properties at risk of foreclosures. I believe that the original deadline was on March. I want to say March
14.
7th or 14th, March 14th. And the deadline now has been extended to until March 31st. We want to let our listeners know that property tax foreclosures will continue this year. The property tax auction will continue this year. Savannah, on the southeast side, you and your staff have been a champion in helping folks who qualify get on payment plans, but also helping residents who qualify to get their property taxes exempt. Tell us a little bit about what this means for the people that you help every day.
Yes, so this is huge. We actually know that there are at least 1,700 households within District 4 that are at risk for foreclosure. And so our team has definitely been working to provide foreclosure prevention assistance to our residents in, districts 4 and 5, and even in 3. And honestly, we have been working with Wayne County residents to get them either enroll on the payment plan with the Michigan Homeowners Assistance Fund, or enrolled into the homeowners property exemption program, and to really get assistance with their back taxes as well as their current taxes. What we have noticed, we actually just started foreclosure prevention assistance days starting just this past Monday. And so we have so far assisted 47 residents with completing their applications, and we'll continue to fight those efforts. And Orlando, it's I don't even know if there's a word that supersedes urgent, right? And how imperative this work is, because we are talking about families that are at risk, babies, seniors, working people who deserve a right to have a well quality of life, and their livelihoods are at risk. And, listening to some of the stories as people come in, um, your heart can't help but go out to them, and you want to service them um, with as much compassion as possible. And just to kind of paint a picture, we had a gentleman who came in, who just got out of his third back surgery and is still in a recovery period, but said, I could not sit at home and recover knowing that I'm going to potentially lose my home in less than, in 2 weeks, basically. We've had folks who have, come in and their utility bills have gone through the roof because with the pandemic, there
You're
is
home more.
working
You're
from
home.
home and
Yeah.
children are home and the grocery bills have gone up, or, the water bill have gone up, and unemployment does not necessarily cover all of those costs, right? DTE still wants their money every month. Um, and so it is imperative work that is happening. What I will say, that I cannot just help but smile at and really praise is our resident leaders who have stepped in and said, we are in this fight with you, and what can we do to help? Whether it is phone calling to folks that are on the foreclosure list, or door to door outreach, or coming in to just greet people and say, I am sorry that you are experiencing this. How can we help you? A lot of times people just need someone to listen to them, and, we know that that does not always happen, especially from local government or, entities that are in charge. And so I definitely want to highlight that if you, or if anyone listening right now, or, someone that if you are at risk for home foreclosure, you can definitely visit ECN at 4401 Counter on Mondays from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., Thursdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Staff and volunteers will be here to assist and support folks directly with getting them off of the foreclosure list and also getting them enrolled into the exemption program that can help with the current taxes as well.
I
So
want to I want to give a number. As of late February, 11,500 occupied residential properties are subject to foreclosure. 11,500 occupied residential properties in the
yeah,
city are subject to foreclosure. This is to re-emphasize on what you are saying, Savannah. This is urgent.
it is. I just want to acknowledge a couple things. I believe, how many people do we have that are helping us with foreclosure prevention right now on our team? Did I hear a number like 23?
Yes,
Yeah.
23, that includes staff and our LEAP sustainability fellows, and some resident leaders that aren't even staff or fellows have heard the work that we're doing and have called to say, how can I be of service as well? And one other thing to kind of throw, right, insult to injury, some of the residents that we are supporting, we also supported last summer for flood assistance. And so when you talk about the need for home repair and that folks have to walk away because they can't afford those repairs, some of the folks, there's mold growing inside of the home and they never even, um, were reconciled from last summer's flood. And now they are also facing foreclosure.
Yeah. And this is in the midst of a pandemic that
Mhm.
people are trying to call endemic, but people are still getting hospitalized and still dying and getting sick. I mean, I think our own President Obama got infected with COVID-19. It was just reported. So people are very much afraid. People are contending with loss sometimes of loved ones. And I would imagine that some of the homes that people are living in, they don't have deeds for because the person who owns the home may have passed away and the deed or the property inheritance was didn't go through probate, and so it makes it difficult for those people to enter into payment plans, doesn't it?
Yes, very much so. And oftentimes, even when you are on the deed, if someone else is on the deed as well, you have to have that person's consent also. Even though they may not live in the home, you have to prove that this person is in agreement with you reaching out to seek assistance because they are named on their deed.
So in the wake of a mass disabling event in which many people died and some of those people owned homes, and older people were more likely to die than other people. And older people were more likely to own some of these homes than younger people. It seems to me as though we have certain levels of crisis that we have to deal with.
Hmm.
If there are questions about ownership, can people at least take that first step, even if it takes a while for them to document the rest so that their homes are taken off the foreclosure list while they are trying to sort out ownership questions?
Yes, we are encouraging everyone to still get enrolled in the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund, or you may hear someone say my half. Still enroll and apply. Let them tell you no. Don't tell yourself no.
Yeah,
Yes, so definitely still apply.
yeah.
Call them. The number to call to apply to that Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund is 844-756-4423. Again, that's 844-756-4423. We'll also make sure that we put it in the description of the podcast. Savannah, talk about a little bit about, and you sort of alluded to this, and I want to just paint folks a picture, because a picture of what folks are really going through on the ground. The compounded issues that folks are facing, that are essentially out of their control. I mean, they can't control uh, uh, public health in the COVID pandemic. They can't control what the weather decides it's going to. I mean, to do, and if their homes flood and mold and things of that sort. And a lot of folks are out of control of their economic condition. Really describe for folks um, that what you're seeing, the resident that is afflicted with all of those things. Are people seeing a way out? Are people seeing a glimmer of hope and light in our neighborhoods in the city?
In some instances, yes. In some instances, residents are glad that services and resources are available and feel that if they could just get a little bit of help, then they can get a tackle on their financial situation so that they can begin to afford not just their property tax bills, but also their daily living expenses. I think Donna said earlier, some folks are on the foreclosure list for $300. Losing a home for 300, a whole home for $300, whether it needs repairs or not. That is a lot of history in that home. That is stability in that home that could be lost for $300. Where people go out and spend $300 like it's nothing, right? And then, so some folks do have a glimmer of hope where they just need the support. They just need maybe some education, and they just need to know that resources in organizations and resident leaders are out there to help them and support them. On the flip side of that, you have some hesitancy, and rightfully so. Just within the last, since last weekend, we've had calls for folks calling us back saying, I'm just calling to verify that Eastside Community Network is legitimate. I've been scammed so many times, and I just want to make sure that I'm giving my information to an appropriate entity.
Mm,
And when you look at scams, identity theft, and the impact that it has on our seniors,
predatory, the predator.
mm-hmm. Some folks are like, I don't want you to come in my home. I don't want you to call me. No, I'm not giving you anything. And it is very serious, right? That we take a look at that and turn our attention to that to make sure that we are cognizant of just the traumatic experiences that our residents have faced. And again, you have residents who um, weren't reconciled for the flooding,
Yeah.
for home repairs that were needed even before last year's flooding. Again, there are residents who experienced flooding and their homes have been in need of home repair since 2014,
Yeah. I mean,
and it's just one thing on top of another.
yeah. I mean, and we know that there's a study that says there's 38,000 homes or thereabout that are in dangerously poor repair. If and people have talked about the blue tarp serving as roofs in so many homes in so many instances, and we know that's not a roof. We know that they don't really stop flooding, and so we should be concerned. And it's going to take real resources. It's going to take the same kind of single-minded focus on home repair and on saving people's homes that it takes on tearing them down. We have moved heaven and earth in this city to tear down homes. And we need to use that same kind of energy to fix up homes if we're going to have justice in Detroit. I don't really think it's in everybody's best interest, but people are very short sighted. One of my concerns, I want to talk about this a little bit, is water bills, because nobody's had to pay one for a couple of years. But the clock is ticking. And if you think your energy bills went up, people's water bills went way up during the pandemic.
My DTE bill is crazy, so I'm scared about the water.
Right. But you're not in one of these older homes that may be leaky. And where a family of six and everybody's at home all the time. Nobody's in school, nobody's going to work for a period of time, and you can pay your bill. And so lately you've heard that the water department is going door to door trying to encourage people, go ahead and pay your bills, go ahead and pay your bills and get on, of course, a payment plan, which becomes another bill, by the way. It's not a panacea. If you couldn't afford your water bill all by itself, your water bill plus your payment plan amount is going to be really hard to take care of. But you know, I think the perception that I'm hearing is there's people who are choosing not to pay their bills. And we want those people who are making choices not to pay their bills to go ahead and pay them. And I don't know if there's adequate recognition that some people just don't have enough money. And I've heard people say, well, if you're making $50,000 a year, well, $50,000 a year, depending on your family size, is not enough money necessarily for all of your household expenses. And so my concern is that we're not doing anything now to prepare for January of 2023 when the moratorium is over. There was all of this talk about trying to create legislation coming out of DC. I think that was what Abdul El Sayed was supposed to do on behalf of the city, was negotiate legislation so that you wouldn't have to come back and pay these bills.
Bill,
Well,
you got to come back on. What's going on with that?
right, well, we didn't build back or better, and so now the funds, there's just no resources. They could have been included in, build back better, but that didn't pass. The infrastructure bill has passed without those resources. We're funding this conflict in Ukraine and the humanitarian support for people who live there. Is there money for people to pay their water bills, or will we enter 2023 with people more, forgive the pun, underwater in terms of their water bills than ever before? um, and I think that that's a human aspect, because now you've got foreclosure notice, you've got water in your basement, you got a water bill. And what I'm hoping is that we can come up with a framework to begin helping people. That's one of our newest program areas, is sustainable homes. And in sustainable homes, we want to figure out how to keep people in their homes. And we want to try to piece together resources so that we're not waiting on the cavalry from the public sector to come, but we're trying to piece together some public sector resources, some private sector resources to create wholeness in as many people as possible. We put in 30 hot water tanks. We cleaned up a few homes, not enough. We need to train people to know how to engage in disaster recovery. We passed out mops and buckets and all of this kind of stuff. So we've done some work. We're really saying, let's plan this, let's be intentional, let's be proactive, so that when January hits, it's not even worse.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I think all of these are urgent, and in addition to some of the remedies that organizations like Eastside Community Network and others are providing to some of these symptoms, I do believe at the root of this is inequitable and unconscionable policy that continues to be a force that needs to be addressed, not only in the municipal and regional level, but at the state level as well. But Savannah, one of the things that I think residents were excited to hear from Mayor Duggan, and Mayor Duggan's State of the City speech was an expansive one with a slideshow and videos, and it was immaculately and beautifully done. One of the announcements that he made was this on a lot program that will be run through, I think, the Housing and Revitalization Department, where residents can get up to $15,000 to get to own and clean up and do projects on vacant lots that are not side lots. And from my time at ECN running one of our first community grants programs, and then sort of overseeing the second beautification grant system, this is a major need and answer to the concern and requests of so many residents on the east side.
Yes, it is. For just the short time that I have been here, for sure, that side lot program has been good if you live next to or are adjacent to a side lot. But if you're across the street or if you are down the street, right? What do you do? And how come you don't qualify? And so the Create a Project program, we have definitely had residents who are like, sign me up. How do I get and become a part of it? And there are so many creative and innovative ideas that residents have to help their neighborhoods become more resilient, to become more health equitable, and really just set them up so that they are thriving, not just for the generation that exists today, but for the generations to come. And so at least one of our Leap Sustainability Fellows from year two has already reached out. And she says, I have plans for the lot across the street, and I'm so excited on what I can do, right? And folks are looking for spaces so that their block clubs can meet outdoors, right? Still keeping in the line that we're in a pandemic and some folks still want a social distance. And so outdoor events during the summer or just having a gathering space for residents to sit down or build community gardens. As we know, not all grocery stores are located within the neighborhoods that we service, and folks are traveling outside of their area. Some folks are saying I need an outdoor recreation space where we can exercise together and get well together. And so the creative project program is going to be impactful for residents for sure, that have been taking care. Some of them have been taking care of lots for years, but they don't own it. And then someone comes in and buys it, and the work that they've done to maintain that lot is just kind of, gone away.
Mm.
And so there are residents that are extremely happy and in support of this expansion of that part of the program.
I
And
mean,
it'll
I
be
think it's
interesting to
really,
see how that works because the lot adoption program, the ability to adopt a lot across the street or down the street is not new.
it
The
was a
the
community partner
project
program.
lot, that's a community part, well, not just community partners, but the city, when proposal M passed, modified, the land bank modified its vacant lot purchasing program to give preference to residents who live inside of neighborhoods. Operationalizing that has been difficult in some instances. So I think we have really good ways of doing it. One of the opportunities lost, though, was working with organizations like ours, which continue to fund projects. We, through our fellowship program, we are in our third year fellows, and our fellows will be working on projects. We've had people adopting lots and fixing up each year. And so building on the knowledge base that we have, that Detroit Future Cities has, and other organizations that have done this work seems really important. I saw the city say, we're going to work with block club leaders and neighborhood associations. I didn't really see community development organizations at the table. But in my experience, when we invested in those project funds, it was a lot more than just giving out money. And it's going to require some hand holding. If people come
Well,
to us,
I think that the Housing and Revitalization Department has an RFP out right now that nonprofit um, practitioners in this space, especially community development practitioners in this space, like a Detroit Future City or Eastside Community Network, will be able to help steward this fund and figure out what that application process looks like. What does that help and hand holding look like? It looks like it's going to be a 3-year investment, and they're looking to disperse about $750,000 each year, right? So make a total investment of about $2.5 million total, looking at about maybe 50 or so lots a year. I mean, resident groups can apply for 500 up to as little as $500 and up to 15,000. And so this is a program that will probably go away. This is an ARPA funded program with some general fund dollars going into it. I'm happy to announce that we're going to have some representatives from the Housing and Revitalization Department. Donald Rencher, Tamara Fontaine Hardy will be joining us on a future show to really discuss the ins and outs of how this program will work. And we will bring the concern and the critique of how these sorts of programs are operationalized and implemented. But I am happy to see that a concern and a bell that residents have been ringing for years is finally getting some attention. Because Savannah, I know you get a call every day about a lot.
Yeah.
Most
And
definitely.
with the I forgot about the RFP. Now I do have one question about the RFP. I guess I can ask them too. Is that for one contractor or multiple contractors?
I think they're looking for one, but I could be mistaken.
Yeah.
Could be
So
mistaken. Looking
hopefully,
for a
that one,
citywide contractor, a city.
right, hopefully the one they choose will work with organizations like ours and we can
Absolutely.
share our collective knowledge. I know there's a woman I spoke to several years ago, a couple of years ago, who had enclosed 6 lots next to her home, garden those lots. They were actually beautiful. And she went and she tried to buy them and they said that will be $1,600. She's a senior citizen on a fixed income. And so I'm really also hopeful that those prices and everything will come together such that a
The
woman
price
like
is
her,
I meant to tell you that too, Donna. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a great, great point. The price per lot is set at $250. And so it's about $150 more than what residents would pay for a site lot, but it is it's a fixed price per lot at $250. Yep. So we'll see.
okay, well,
We'll see. There's gonna be questions and things around that, things that we ran up against Donna when we were doing beautification program, site control and proof of community support and
we're
uh,
still
you know, all of those things.
we're still dealing with that with the fellowship, and it
Yeah,
gets really interesting. So, proof of ownership, community support. What does community support look like? Is one letter. You deal with all of that kind of stuff. I'm happy to see that happen. I really do hope that people will be able to use those grant dollars to offset that $250 fee.
yeah. And
Because
organizations like ECN too, providing fiduciary services to some of these
right.
neighborhood groups that are incorporated, right? I think there's an opportunity for that. Donna,
'Cause
I think
I would
also,
just say I would just say those 6 lots at $250 a lot would still be $1,500,
right.
which would
Yep.
still take her out of her price point.
Right.
If and here's my question, if somebody has been maintaining a lot for 20 years and the city has not had to mow those lots, clean them, there's been no liability to those lots. Hasn't that person earned the right to own them outright? Why are we charging people for lots they have taken responsibility for? Maintaining vacant lots is a public responsibility, and if I take that on, you shouldn't charge me. That's my thinking.
I agree. And so cannot wait to have this conversation with Donna Rencher and Tamara Fontaine Hardy from the Housing and Revitalization Department. Savannah, I want to get a sort of roll call on things that you all in the community organizing and planning department have coming up that our listeners will be able to either take a part in or even volunteer. I think we have a cohort of listeners who have, number one, who have resources, who have the capacity to volunteer to help implement some of these programs. So,
Yes, thank you. Most definitely. So again, Eastside Community Network is hosting and really just serving the community with foreclosure prevention assistance days. And those days and times are Monday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., Tuesday and Wednesday, 5 to 7 p.m., Thursday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you are in need of assistance or someone that you know is in need of assistance, please come down or bring them down to 4401 Connor on those days so that they can get the assistance and support that they needed to complete those um, property exemption or Michigan homeowners assistance fund applications. We also do the homeowner assistance exemption programming and application support every single Monday, even after March. You'll still be able to come down and get assistance with your current property taxes.
Mhm.
We also have coming up on March 24th and March 31st the sharing table, which is new to ECN this year, but it is a way for community to connect with one another and really tap into our overall well-being. And we use this session to share different hot topics, maybe like myths that we've grown up with, or just how we're really keeping well this far into the pandemic. And so we share to kind of cleanse and get out our, um, just tap into our mental health. And so that is going to be on March 24th
I
and March
love that.
31st at
I
4
love
p.m.
that.
Most definitely. And then on April 5th, we are gearing up for our LEAP Coalition Stakeholder Advisory Group meeting. And that is going to be at 6 p.m. And we'll definitely get you more details, Orlando and Donna, to share with your networks.
And early in April, I'm going to get a date out there, but I'm thinking we're shooting for April 9th. I know we have something else going on April 9th. We're going to have a job fair. We have about 10 job postings that we have to fill. And we want to open it up to the East Side first so we can try to attract as much East Side talent as we can.
ECN
East Side
specific job fair.
an ECN specific job fair. Yes, we have. So we've been. It's been a blessed year in so many ways, and once again, we received a sizable earmark from the federal government, but we've also received grants from other places that have enabled us to work more closely with people in the community around their health care needs, around community education and housing. And so we need to make sure that we're filling the gaps. We actually have a grant, for example, to create a corridor improvement authority on Mack Avenue. And we need somebody to lead that process. So just a lot of opportunity. And we want to make sure that Eastsiders hear it first. Well, first it's going to be Eastside Community Network staff get the first, crack at it. And then it's going to be Eastside residents, and then we'll open it up to the community at large. And I suppose in some strange way, that's almost modeled after the way FCA did its hiring, right?
Yeah.
But we are going to have a job fair. We do want people to apply and to share your resume.
So go to ecn-detroit.org/careers to have a look at some of the job descriptions that are posted to become a part of the ECN team. A driver, that's a part-time position. And I am happy to say that the rest of the positions that are open are full-time with benefits. Community project coordinator, community organizing and planning manager, business engagement coordinator, business and economic development director, Connect 313 ambassador. There's so many.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Donna.
The Connect 313 ambassador is actually half-time.
That's part-time.
And we also will be hiring community health workers. And if you don't have experience, we're going to pay for you to get trained by the Association for Community Health Workers so that you can help educate and promote good health. And then finally, we have some management positions that have not been posted yet. One in finance and one around community health. So by all means, if you just have a resume and you're not quite sure what you're interested in, if you send your information in to us, we'll try to see where there's a fit. But we're trying to staff up quickly because we have a lot of work to do.
In addition, if I can say real quick, Orlando, in addition to our April 9th that job resource fair, we are also hosting a Show Me the Money Day, ECN's third annual Show Me the Money Day event, which is a free community and financial resource fair, really to support folks as they make better decisions with money. And so we are going to be having a panel discussion. Our focus for this year is generational sustainability, financial health, and wealth for all. And so we ask folks to participate on April 9th. It is a virtual event from 11 a.m. to 3. And then we're going to be following up on April 30th and May 21st to serve as distribution sites. And we'll be handing out free resources and financial information.
And so during the Show Me the Money Day, if you can't come to the job fair, come there. We'll share that information, but we'll be physically on site here at the same time. And we'll make sure that at every single event, we're going to share information about job opportunities here at ECN.
All right. Thank you. Oh man, has been an amazing discussion, and we're super excited about all the opportunities that exist on the East Side. We want to let you know that if you have topics that you want to discuss on our podcast, you can hit us up on our socials at Authentically Detroit on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And you can email us at authenticallydetroit@gmail.com. It is time for shout outs. Really quickly, I want to shout out our good friend, Jermaine Ruffin, who has moved on from the Housing and Revitalization Department to a front-facing community position at Invest Detroit, stewarding development resources, especially to up-and-coming Black developers in the city. If I know Jermaine, so shout out to Jermaine. He's also the host and founder of the Streets Are Planning podcast. So you need to make sure that if you check, that you guys check them out. If you listen to us, especially in Apple Podcasts, related podcasts that will come up to ours is The Streets Are Planning. So you want to be sure to check it out. I have some more, but I'll yield to you guys. Any shout outs?
I want to shout out Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, 13th District, for her work in securing $15 million federal earmark funds for community projects in her district. I believe that's the largest number of community projects in any district that I've seen in the state of Michigan. And of course, one of those projects was ours. I thought it was a long shot. One of our board members, Greg Donnelly, said, "Hey, Donna, I hear she's accepting applications. It's a long shot, but you might as well try." And I was like, "Okay, sure." So I put something together, forgot to round up. So we got an odd number of dollars that were committed from the federal government. It's really exciting for us because we're able to see this dream come to fruition. I wanted to shout out Larissa Carr in her office for all of her work in trying to make sure. No, it's Larissa Richardson, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, Larissa Richardson. Yes.
Carl is her maiden name.
Okay. All right. I was like, wait a minute, but it sounds like Carr. Larissa Carr Richardson for her work in helping to shepherd all of this through. I'd like to shout out Greg Donnelly, who is an amazing board member who just is the hardest working board member at ECN. No offense to any other board member, but he has a part-time job here.
None taken.
Helping bring the Stoudemire to fruition. I mean, everything from managing our facilities committee and a couple of contractors who are working around architecture to his work in getting us this funding and just cheerleading. And then on Monday, I believe, Ibram Kendi came to Detroit for the Grosse Pointe NAACP. And Greg actually helped facilitate bringing some of our students to that event, as well as staff. So Orlando, you went and you had dinner with the amazing Ibram X Kendi, right?
Yes. So shout out to Greg and shout out to Tanya Aho, the Director of Youth Development at ECN. One of the ECN young people, Nashay, actually participated in a panel discussion with Ibram X Kendi. Greg is also the reason why I was tapped to moderate those discussions with Professor Ibram X Kendi. So it, of course, a dream come true for me to be in conversation with Ibram X Kendi. I am a fan of his writing and his brain, but even more of a dream come true is to be the recipient of the expertise and the scholarship of our young people steering that discussion. They steered the discussion, they curated the questions, they stewed over them, and they came prepped and ready to go. So it was a great privilege to help steward that conversation. I also want to shout out in my ECN board member hat, Donna and the great team over at ECN for all of the hard work that you all are doing on the pavements of our neighborhoods. It gives so many of us like comfort to know that ECN is still out there making it happened. I couldn't be more prouder to serve as a former staff member and now board member and partner to this amazing organization that grows interns into whole directors of departments.
We've got two interns working for us now, because Savannah was an intern and Aaron Stanley was an intern, went away and came back anyway. So we are proud of the fact that when I got to ECN in the 1990s, they used to call it Warren County University. And I think we want to change our name to ECN University with a goal of continuing to build leaders and build leaders who leave ECN, like you, Orlando, and to being such great community leaders that you have now a national and international footprint, but building a certain level of ethics and values inside of the people that we work with so that they can take it on in other places. Now, I'm not inviting anybody at ECN to leave.
Take notes, Savannah.
When they do leave, I want to make sure that they are better off leaving than they were when they came in. You know what I mean? Like if you're making this, if you can't get a better job when you leave here, why are you going? You know, just say. But if you can, I just hope everybody finds a way to use these experiences and then use your next post to continue to do great things. And of course, that's what you've done, Orlando. I'm sorry for neglecting to give you a shout out as a board member because you and Greg did something very special to me, for me, that I'm going to talk about next week. I can't talk about it this week.
Can't wait. Yeah.
Very special for me that I am forever appreciative. And actually, the two of you are a great tag team on the board.
Yeah, he's my pal. So thank you, Savannah, for joining us. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Orlando, Savannah, do you have any shout outs before we go?
Oh,
I do really, really quickly. No problem. Just again, for our foreclosure prevention assistance, I really want to shout out Angela Brown Wilson, our Chief Operating Officer, who is leading this work. And also all of the folks that are on the ground doing the work. Shout out to Sherry Meadows, Bethany Howard, Ian McCain, Aaron Stanley, Regina Peoples, Matthew Green, Davon Reeder, Matthew McGowan, and then our LEAP Sustainability Fellows, Katrina Watkins, Brenda Butler, Tracy Heron, Loretta Powell, Will Morgan, Tamara Howard, Jonna Jefferson, Yvonne Willis, Dolores Orr, Victoria Thomas, Latanya Robinson, and Joylitha Goodwin. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of the work that you guys are out doing.
And former LEAP Sustainability Fellow, now turned City Councilwoman Letitia Johnson.
Come on. Yes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. Don't forget Letitia. Letitia took special efforts to find resources, support foreclosure prevention for residents in District 4, worked with community organizations to try to help make that happen. And they've already done a lot of the work that we are now engaging in. So we are so blessed to have Letitia in District 4.
What an amazing, what an amazing story and arc to the story. Savannah, once again, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. You got to come back and keep us posted and updated. Yeah. And as always, we thank you so much for listening and we want you to catch the wave.